All right, good morning. Mr. Riley and I are here. Come on, buddy. This is where we set up our tent here last night. Today is Tuesday. Hold up, buddy. Tuesday, October the 1st. Day number 152. Riley, wait. Day number 152. It is a chilly morning. Clouds are all overhead. We are at the this campsite between the west peak of Bigelow Mountain and I think it's called Avery Peak. This campsite, it's called Bigelow Coal Campsite in my far out, and Avery Memorial Campsite in my AWOL guide. Riley, hold up, buddy. And the Avery comes from Myron Avery, who, along with Benton Mackay gets the most credit, but Myron Avery was also one of the architects of the Appalachian Trail. Apparently I heard that he didn't get along very well with Benton Mackay, but I read Myron Avery was actually responsible for, or played a significant role in the AT actually being extended into Maine. I think in Benton Mackay's original plans, he was thinking that the AT would officially end at Mount Washington, and then there would be additional trails that could branch off from the northern terminus at Mount Washington. But before it was actually completed, the decision was changed to extend it from Mount Washington into Maine and to Mount Katahdin, and my understanding is that Myron Avery had a big role in that. That is the fire warden's cabin right there. It's always interesting, like there's all these things that, you know, that was just a little bit north on the AT, and I knew that I saw, it says caretaker there. That's cool. I saw in far out that there was supposed to be a fire warden's cabin near the campsite, but I, of course, didn't see it last night. It's because it was just a little bit further north, and I hadn't gone there yet. So the other two parties at the campsite, there was a guy named Alpine, and then a couple named Stag and Happy Feet. They departed earlier, so Riley and I are the last to leave. But I actually woke up this morning and my head was still buried in my sleeping bag, so it was still dark, and I had to pee. But I think the reason I woke up is I heard Stag and Happy Feet talking, because they were already, it was actually light out, and they were already taking down their tent and getting ready for the day. And so I heard them, and that helped to wake me up. And, right, hold up, buddy. Hold up. So Riley and I are getting off to a pretty early start today. And it actually, I think, helped that we were at the campsite with those other people, because when they woke up, that woke me up. And then I just decided to start getting ready. Good job, Riley. Wait, where are I? We can just go this way, right? Okay. I would have loved to have just crawled back into my sleeping bag and gone back to sleep this morning, and I probably would have done that if I had been alone. But I figured we also need to, it would be very helpful just to get off to an early start, so let's try to do that. So yeah, we got a bit of a climb here, climbing up Avery Peak. But it shouldn't take too long because we're already at pretty high elevation, so we just have to go a little bit higher. And then we have a big downhill, and then we definitely have there's always climbs, but I wouldn't say we have any like extreme climbs similar to what we've had for pretty much every day ever since we started the Whites and into southern Maine. Right, hold up, buddy. I would kind of prefer to go first here. Right, hold up, let me go first. Stag and Happy Feet, I heard them talking this morning. Riley. Riley, there's just no good way for me to get ahead of here. Riley, no, stay there. Just stay there, Riley. Riley, wait, stay there. Yeah, I think it's actually best to go down here. Let me go first, Riley. Let me go first. And it's good that we're starting the day here and getting moving, because as I've said before, the best way to get warm is to just get moving. The hard part is just going from that stretch where you're nice and cozy in your sleeping bag to until you can actually get moving, like taking down the tent. And all that other stuff. Hey, hold up, buddy. Hold up. You're not able to be actually moving then, so you're cold. And you're not in your sleeping bag. So that's really the hard part. It takes some mental toughness to get through that, especially on a cold day. Okay, Riley. Yeah, so I heard Happy Feet and Stag talking this morning about their plans for the day, and apparently they are gonna try to go 25 miles today and stay at a shelter called Pierce Pond Lean-To. And that is, then they're gonna plan to get a ferry across the Kennebec River tomorrow. They'll be about 3 miles. What are you doing, Riley? Go. Yeah, so we're about 28 miles south of the Kennebec River currently. So Riley and I are just gonna try to get a full day in and not take any excessive breaks. Riley, let me go first, man. And we'll just see where we get today. Riley, hold up, buddy. Hold up. Hold up, big guy. So I hiked on a bit. The sun is peeking through the clouds there. It's interesting how it's Seems like there's a battle between the sun and the clouds. Just a continuous battle. The sun often just wins out and burns up the clouds and then dominates the sky. But every once in a while the clouds hold their own, and right now the battle is ongoing. The sun is trying to break the clouds, and the clouds are winning the fight so far today. But the sun has time on its side, and the sun will eventually win. But for now, the clouds are hanging on as long as they can. Anyway, so we are getting up to Avery Peak here. Is this Avery Peak? Is this what it's called? Yes, Bigelow Mountain, Avery Peak. West Peak is 0.7 back, 4,088 feet. And we have no view right now. No view of, like, you know, the mountains, but we have a great view of the clouds and the fog. And this is pretty cool too. So let's Safford Brook Trail, East Bigelow Mountain, East Flagstaff Road. Okay. Continuing on here. This is a cool structure here. This is a cool structure. Let's just peer over the top here, Riley. Riley, come here. Cool. So just a little structure in there. Anyway, and there is a monument here. What does this plaque say? Myron Avery Peak of Mount Bigelow, named in honor of Myron Halliburton Avery, 1899 to 1952, whose foresight, leadership, and diligence made possible the Appalachian Trail, this 2,000-mile footpath from Maine to Georgia. Beautiful. So I was mostly correct in what I said earlier. Hello again. My beard is so out of control that I constantly feel like there's a beard hair in my mouth for some reason. And then I put my finger into my mouth to try to pull it out, but I can't find it. I think it's like just attached to my skin, and it's just like hanging into my mouth or something. Anyway, so the last video we were up on Avery Peak, and then just as I finished the last thought, my battery ran out of power, and then I didn't feel like taking the time to stop and pull out my electronics bag and put a new battery in. So I've been hiking most of the day without taking any video. Come on, Riley. And we made it over Little Bigelow, and we started the downhill, but we still have these we're still kind of in the alpine zone, and so we're still going over some rock faces, and that was a cool view back there. So I finally decided, all right, I'm gonna put a new battery in and capture some views. I was getting frustrated earlier because Riley was stopping a lot. Like stopping a lot. Like excessively. Like we would be walking on like perfectly straight trail, and he would just stop and sniff the pine needles. And like the first time he does it, I don't get annoyed. But then it's like he would do it like 3 times in 10 minutes. And each time he does it, I'm walking and he just pulls me back. And it just kind of annoyed me. So he's looking back there. And now he's fighting me. So I'm gonna fight back. I'm going Riley. So he, short while back, we passed the peak of Little Bigelow. Riley. We met this guy. His name is Colossus. And we had a good talk with him. He was packing his things up. He admitted to me that, and I'm not laughing at him, I don't know, I just laughed for some reason. That looks like a mushroom there. Yes. So he admitted to me that he was just getting going for the day. And it was probably about like 3 p.m. by the time we saw him. And he was just in the process of packing his things up and getting ready to start the hiking day. But he was out of his tent, and Riley was happy to say hi. So we chatted for a bit. And he seemed like a really cool guy. Real cool guy. He said he thru hiked last year. And now he's just hiking. He said he's hiking south, and he's just kind of hiking for fun. And he doesn't have a particular target in mind, but he said he might get off. Seems like he's probably going to get off pretty soon, because I asked him how far he was going. And Riley, you want to fight? And he just said he might get off like once it gets too cold, or if it starts raining a lot. And it seems like it's just going to get colder from, in general, from here on out. So, but for now he's still on the trail. And he said he's planning to do the Florida Trail this winter. So I told him about my time on the Florida Trail. Gave him a little info. He also told me to, when I get to Munson, however you pronounce it, to, assuming I stay at Shaw's, which I'm planning to do, Riley is pulling me here in a way that I don't like, because the leash is tangled between us. Riley, could you it's like, dude, I want to get in front, and I'm trying to be nice. I just want to walk in front. But if I start moving, what happens? Are you going to let me walk in front? No, you're not. Okay, you did let me walk in front. Thank you. Anyway, so Shaw's Hiker Hostel is in Munson. Very famous hiker hostel. It's been running for a long time. I stayed there in 2018. I tented, and then had a wonderful breakfast the next morning, and had a great time there. I wouldn't say it's head and shoulders above other hostels on the AT, but it's a very good hostel. They do a great job, just like many others. And it's run by this couple. Their trail names are Poet and Hippie Chick. Poet's a guy, Hippie Chick's a girl. And so Colossus asked me to say hi to them for him when I get there. So I told him I will do my best. Definitely a chance I'll forget. But if I put my mind to it, I can do it. And then he told me he's been asking lots of people to say hi to them for him, expecting that people will forget. But he also added that he only asks cool people to say hi to them. Like people that he likes, I guess. So that was a nice little compliment in disguise, because it means he liked our conversation. Anyway, yeah, so it was good talking to him. He actually had a bottle of whiskey on him that someone had gave him, and he has a good amount of whiskey. It's like a pretty big bottle, but it's only partially full, but there's still a good amount left. And he's been trying to get rid of it. He's not a whiskey drinker himself, but he doesn't want to just like dump it, in the wilderness. So he offered it to me, and I politely declined. And he said he's been trying to drink it to get rid of it because it's heavy and he doesn't want to carry the weight. But he doesn't like the taste of it, which I fully understand. I'm not a whiskey drinker myself. I may have had it like once in my life, but I'm sure it's very strong. I've been sucking on Jolly Ranchers a lot today. My logic for getting the Jolly Ranchers in Stratton was it would be something that, would taste good and I could enjoy while I'm hiking, but it would hopefully last longer than other candy, because it's not something that I can just like chew and eat instantly. Like each individual Jolly Rancher that I consume, I'm just gonna suck on it, so it's gonna last however long it takes for it to dissolve in my mouth. Whereas the Skittles that I got in Andover, come on, Riley. Riley's just stopping because I think he still remembers Colossus. I think the biggest thing that I might forget when I get to Shaw's is, I think there's a good chance that I'll remember to say hi for Colossus, but I think I might forget his name by the time I get there. So, Shaw's is like about 60 miles away. Maybe a little less than that. Riley, what in the world are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Can you answer that for me? Are you tired? Do you hear sounds? Or are you just waiting for your friend who's going south right now? Come on, buddy. Let's go. Anyway, so it's not a big deal, obviously, if I forget to say hi, but in order to be successful with that mission that he has tasked me with, I need to remember his name. So what was I saying? I was saying something before I interrupted myself. I don't remember. Oh, the other thing Colossus told me, I was kind of lamenting to him about some of my frustrations. About how, like, the hiking just seems really hard and I'm ready to stop. And it seems like we're just making such slow progress. And he was like, the trail really does start to mellow out, like right now, basically. A lot of people say that if you're going northbound after the Bigelows, the trail really starts to mellow out in terms of elevation change and also just the difficulty of the terrain. And so I mean, I sort of remember that from 2018, but it's hard to remember all the details. And like, I don't think it's necessarily going to be easy. I mean, this trail right here is fine. But it can at least be less hard than it's been. But these like little ups and downs, if they happen like one after another, which sometimes they do, they can get kind of annoying. Anyway, yeah, my point was just to say that Colossus has reassured me that the trail really does get easier north of here, at least for a time. When I get to Shaw's and start and enter the 100-mile wilderness, the first 40 miles or so, approximately, are known to be quite difficult. I remember someone describing them in my 2018 hike as like a mini White Mountains, meaning that it was a difficult terrain. But from here to Shaw's, it's supposed to be much easier than it's been. And then the last part of the 100-mile wilderness is supposed to be very pleasant terrain as well. So, I will find out soon if that is correct. Riley, we're supposed to stay on trail and not trample the alpine vegetation. Come on, dude, let's go. Let's go, man. We gotta go. So, more views here from the Bigelows. Another thing that was on my mind is something. Riley, we gotta go. Come on. Something cool at the main roadhouse that I didn't mention is they take everybody's picture before they leave. So everybody that stays there, you know, unless they refuse, they will take your picture. Riley is sniffing more pine needles. They will take your picture, and then what they do is it just prints out a very tiny Polaroid, and it develops very quickly. And then you attach it to the wall in the kitchen. Depending on the wall, you either tape it to the wall or you put a thumbtack on it and tack it to the wall. And so I thought that was a really cool idea. So when I was there, oh my goodness, Riley, what in the world? I'm getting very frustrated. Riley. Come on. So when I was there, I was able to look at as many pictures as I wanted to, because they're all there. And I was able to see people that I've met before on trail and who had stayed at the hostel. And I was able to see when they got there, because on the bottom of each picture they wrote their name, their direction, Nobo or Sobo, and also the date that they got there. So I was able to learn, for example, I saw that Scorp actually got there the day before, and apparently he zeroed there. So he actually left the morning of the day that I got there. And I also learned that like there's this other hiker, Commissioner, that I hiked with for a good bit. And like this was in like Southern Virginia. I think that's where I met him. And he got there like a couple weeks ago. And he has a big beard now. So he definitely didn't look this, like I think when I met him he didn't have a beard. So that was cool to see see what he looks like now. And there's also this other guy named Earl that I've mentioned before previously. I've met him several times because he's doing a lot of sections southbound. I don't really know what his story is, like why he does that, but that's what he's been doing. And so I would often see him, cross paths with him as he was doing a section southbound and I was going northbound. And then he had told me previously that he was going to be hiking south from Katahdin down to Duncannon to complete his hike. And so I was expecting to run into him at some point, and I haven't seen him at all. But I saw his picture up at the main roadhouse, and apparently he got there on the 9th, I think the 9th, or maybe the 13th of September, so a little over 2 weeks ago, because I was there on the 29th. So it's good to know that he was able to start his southbound hike, and he's probably continuing on. And I don't have to wonder what the story was. And then there were plenty of other hikers that I'd met. Come on, Riley. Previously that I also was able to see the pictures of. And that was really cool. And I got my picture taken with Riley. So we share. Oh, the other guy I saw, I didn't see, there's this guy who has a channel called I Suck at Hiking. His name is Michael McAnally, and he has a dog named Leo. And Leo had his own picture on the wall. I didn't see Michael's picture, but I saw Leo's picture, so that was cool. Come on, Riley. Anyway, so Leo got his own picture. Riley and I shared the picture together. So, sky's all clouded over, but I don't think it's going to rain today. I don't think rain's in the forecast. So Riley's just going to continue to be difficult. It's just part of the trail. He's just going to continue to look back, and I'm going to continue to get frustrated. All right, Van Gogh and Riley here. We made it past the next lean-to, which was called Little Bigelow Lean-to. By the way, the shelters in Maine are referred to as, not all the shelters, but most of them are referred to as lean-tos as opposed to shelters. It's just a different terminology. They're the same shelters that have been present along the entire trail, but it's just kind of a main thing, and they call them lean-tos here. So we made it past there, and it's been pretty flat since then. We've just gone a little ways after the lean-to, and we finally have water again. Prior to getting to the lean-to, we had gone a long stretch without any water, like directly on trail, and we didn't have any water last night, which wasn't that big a deal because it wasn't super hot, so I wasn't very thirsty. I'm sure Riley was somewhat thirsty, but not super thirsty. And we both had a good amount to drink at the main roadhouse hostel, so it wasn't a huge deal. But it's nice to have water again. or at least have access to water again. And there's plentiful water sources coming up on the trail. And this is just a beautiful section, like just all the leaves, all different colors. The leaves it's nice to walk on the leaves. Oh, and hear them crunch under your feet. And it's also nice to see blue skies. Like, it was all clouded over earlier, and now the clouds have dissipated a little bit, and I can see, a mixture of clouds and blue skies. When it's all clouded over, it just kind of puts me in a state of worry that it might rain at some point. And yeah, so it's nice we have blue skies. We passed a cool girl on the trail earlier, just after the lean-to, but just a short ways back. She was doing like she said she was a flip-flop. She started northbound and then she switched to southbound. But then what she told me is that since Hurricane Helene, or due to the impact of Hurricane Helene, she's planning to discontinue her hike, and she's going to, she could continue it at least for a good bit until she gets down to the affected areas, but she's chosen to discontinue the hike, and it sounds like she's planning at some point in the near future to actually go down to the affected areas and do what she can to help out, which seems really nice. And it just made me think that I should take a moment to be extra thankful. Like, I haven't heard much about the impact of Hurricane Helene, but what I have heard is just that it's been very devastating, and the AT communities, like between in Tennessee and North Carolina, I believe, and probably Georgia as well, have been very heavily impacted. Like, and I don't know many of the details, but what I do, a couple things I do know is that Mountain Harbor Hostel, which I stayed at, that's around mile 390 on the trail. Apparently that was their property. They have a beautiful property. That's the place that's known for having one of the best, if not the best, breakfast on trail. Yeah, apparently their property was just very severely impacted. I haven't seen any pictures, but yeah, they have a big recovery effort there. And in Erwin, Tennessee, apparently Erwin, Tennessee was another area. And I'm sure this is just like one of many areas that were greatly impacted, but Erwin, Tennessee was greatly impacted as well. Their Uncle Johnny's hostel in Erwin, Tennessee is like an AT institution, and it's right near the Nolichucky River. And there's a bridge that you have to cross once you get out of the woods, and you get to a road, and then Uncle Johnny's is on your left, and then you cross over the Nolichucky River on a bridge. And it's like a it's not just a hiker bridge, it's a bridge for cars. So it's a very sturdy, very strong bridge, and apparently that bridge was just completely, it's no longer there, apparently, and just due to the hurricane. And that's pretty, yeah, that's pretty, tells you how strong the hurricane was, that this extremely strong bridge is just no longer there. So I feel like I should be extra thankful and recognize the fact that I'm very lucky to not be impacted directly by this.
but I should also extend my, whatever I can do in terms of just being thoughtful of all the people that are impacted. But Riley and I are just dealing with our own life on the trail and just trying to be safe where we are. And we have enough challenges to to occupy our time here, to just try to keep ourselves safe. But at least we are safe, and yeah, I'm kind of at a loss for words, but we are safe and we're comfortable right now, and we just decided to stop and take a break, and we're sitting down and just relaxing, and feels good. So I'm very fortunate to be in this position of being in a state of comfort. I would imagine some of the southbound hikers that were I would imagine most of the southbound hikers had not yet arrived at the area in the Tennessee, North Carolina area. But I would imagine some of the very fast southbound hikers have arrived already, because you can basically start a southbound hike as early as late May. And so if you're a fast hiker and you can hike the trail in 4 months, you'd be done in late September. And even if you're a little slower than that, you might be done like mid-October, which would put you right kind of in the affected area. So there were I would imagine that there were a good number of southbound hikers that were actually hiking through that area during the hurricane. And that does not sound like a good situation to be in as a hiker. For one thing, if you were just on trail, like in your tent, that sounds like a life or death. It sounds like you would be in a very bad situation. Very, very bad. And even if you were in a shelter, like just given what happened to all these properties, the shelter isn't much safer. And I'm just realizing that there must be a ton of downed trees. I'm just thinking about the impact of the trail, just because that's what I'm focused on. I would imagine there would be a whole ton of downed trees that would make, like, even once the weather returns to normal, it would make trying to hike through that area extremely treacherous, extremely difficult. And there's not going to be anyone that I would think that is really going to be able to focus on, removing that, because all the focus is on just helping the communities outside of the trail initially. And cleaning up the trail would be a secondary priority. Anyway, so yeah, I all I know is what I've heard from other people. So I haven't heard very much, but it sounds like a very bad situation, and there's nothing I can do. But I can try to keep Riley and I safe and be thankful for what we have. I mean, obviously there is stuff I could do. Like, I could quit my hike and go down and try to help. But I'm not planning to do that. So I think we've had a good break here. Yeah, so it was nice talking to Tara. She, when we came up on her, she had headphones in her ears. And she initially didn't realize we were there. And she was in the middle of, like, doing some very creative work. Like, she had assembled all these leaves of different colors, and she was focusing on the red leaves, and she was arranging them right around like a tree root that was going in the middle of the trail. I could have gotten a picture of it, but I didn't. And I was just amazed at her creativity, and she seemed like a very nice person. You'll have to take my word for it. She is a very nice person, but you'll have to take my word for it, because she's back up the trail, and I didn't capture anything on video. All right, so I think we've had a good break here, and we're gonna try to get moving again. So sorry for rambling so much earlier. Just saying what's on my mind, but we're hiking again, and just wanted to show how beautiful this trail is. This is very pleasant to walk on. Very, very, very pleasant. Just nice and flat and soft. Minimal rootiness and rockiness. Beautiful colors. Very mild temperature. No heavy winds. No wind at all, really. Just very pleasant hiking. So just wanted to show the pleasantness of the hiking here. Riley, let's go. Come on. Let's go. Come on. So we are right. Oh, Riley. I don't want to go too far. Riley. Hold up, buddy. Yep, we're right on a pond. A big friggin' pond. I don't know what mountain that is. And there is a sandy beach that we just walked over. And Riley is sniffing. What's new? I don't think we have much daylight left. Shake. Shake, shake, shake. All right, Riley, let's get back to the trail, Riley. Very nice diversion here. All right, good evening. Riley and I are in our tent now. We're done with the hiking day. We made it to this road called Long Ralls Dam Road. And then just shortly after the road, there's this brook called Jerome Brook. And I was planning to get here and fill up on water. And then I saw in far out that 0.4 of a mile after this, there was a side trail called the Snowmobile Trail, where I saw a comment that there were some decent tent sites there. But once I got to the brook, I noticed there was a flat spot right here. So I decided to camp right here at Jerome Brook. So we are currently at mile 2028.6. We started the day at Bigelow Coal Campsite at mile 2017.0, so we hiked 11.6 miles today. we did end up hiking like the last 0.6 of a mile in the dark. So I used my headlamp, and we've been in our tent for a while. I'm about ready to give Riley his dinner and eat my dinner. We're at pretty low elevation now for a change. We're at like 1,200 feet, which is like just like town level. We're not up in the mountains right now, so it's chilly, but it's not nearly as cold as it was last night. But I got Riley's jacket on, and I'm in my sleeping bag, and we're all prepared to keep warm tonight. The first half of the day, leaving the campsite, we ascended Avery Peak, and then we had a long descent, and then we hiked over Little Bigelow. So like the first half of the day was still pretty hard hiking. But then once I saw that guy Colossus, and we got to Little Bigelow lean-to, after that, the trail definitely, I would say, I've heard people say the trail mellows out. So the trail was definitely much easier, much more hikeable. I was able to just walk like a normal human being, without having to navigate many difficult rocks or roots. So that was very nice. So we got off to a pretty early start, but we did take a few breaks and had a few long chats, one with Colossus and the other one with Tara. And first half of the day was hard hiking, second half of the day was much easier hiking. But we're still only able to do like 11.6 miles. It's more than yesterday, but it's not like what we were used to doing for most of the hike prior to New Hampshire, which was like, close to 15 miles. But again, a big reason for that is that we're needing to stop earlier, because it gets dark so much earlier. So we stopped hiking. Let's see. I took a break about 7 p.m. That was when I decided it was time to put my headlamp on, and we were about a half mile away from where we are now. And I ended up taking a decently long break. So we probably got here about 8 p.m. But yeah, so I mean, a big reason for us doing lower miles is just, partly it's the difficult terrain of New Hampshire and Maine, but a big part is just losing out on like 2 hours of good hiking time. So anyway, we are in our tent. I'm happy. It's always nice to be in our tent and getting ready to have dinner and then have a good night's sleep, and should be able to do some reading tonight. And hopefully the good trail continues tomorrow. Looking at the elevation profile, it looks like we have a decent climb. Not a huge climb, but it's like a good-sized hill that we need to climb over. And that'll be first thing tomorrow morning. But after that, the trail, like the elevation profile, is pretty flat. So that that's encouraging for tomorrow. So something to look forward to. Anyway, I will close out the day. Riley is I'm about to give him his dinner, but he doesn't know it yet. He's sleeping right now, and yeah, like I said, I'll say goodnight and we will check in tomorrow. Hope everyone's doing well, and bye for now.